Hey guys, what's going on? Today I'm going to go over the difference between Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Rapid City, South Dakota. Here we go. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching this video and clicking on it here. So my name is Morrison. I'm a real estate agent here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. Today I'm going to go over kind of the difference between the east side of the state and the west side of the state. East side of the state being Sioux Falls area, the west side of the state being the Rapid City Black Hills area. So I've actually personally lived in both of them. I've only lived in Sioux Falls for about a year before moving to Rapid City. And so my opinion is going to be a little biased for sure, but I can tell you from firsthand account kind of the difference. And I'm going to go over a little bit of cost of living, housing prices, everything like that. So really quick guys, if you got any questions, if you're moving to the area, if you're moving to South Dakota and you're moving to the east side of the state, let me know. I can hook you up with somebody there. But if you're moving to the Black Hills, western side of the state, I work all of the Black Hills, so I'm happy to help in any way I can. You can call me, call and email is probably the best way to get a hold of me, or text me. But you can also hit me on any social media platform, write me an old-fashioned letter if you're really feeling like it, anything like that. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the very first thing I'm gonna touch on, guys, is housing prices, because I'm real estate, so it's fitting, right? Also, those of you who have watched for a while, yes, I did add some beautiful curtains back there because people always walking by. I thought it was kind of distracting. Anyways, I know they're beautiful, I get it. All right, so to start off with housing prices, I'm going to start with the Black Hills, Rapid City area. The average housing prices, and I'm actually taking the major cities, so I'm taking Rapid City, I'm taking Sioux Falls. Rapid City, the average housing price right now is $263,450. So $263 is the average housing price here. I believe the U.S. is around $240, so we're a little bit above average. Something interesting too, interesting little fact when I was doing a little research for this video, the median housing listing price is $260. So the average house is selling $3,000 more than listing price, which is pretty interesting, pretty crazy. So when a lot of people may ask me about like, hey, how competitive is it, la la la, you know, can we get in there and go below asking price? There's your answer right there. Stuff is selling on average $3,000 more than the listing price. Now, I don't have as much data in the Sioux Falls area as I do here, just because I'm not a part of their MLS there, so that's why I can't pull all the data. But what I could find is from that area's MLS there called Ray, is they send out a little monthly stat. So looking at the average housing price there, it looks like it's $232,000. And I think that is, from what I'm reading, that is from the surrounding areas too. There's some areas around Sioux Falls, like Brandon, things like that are sometimes a little bit cheaper, not always, but sometimes a little bit cheaper, on the cheaper end of houses. So 232, so that's about 31,000 less than Rapid City, which is pretty interesting. I actually thought it was the opposite until I did this video, did this research for this video. So that shows you a little bit of difference in the housing prices. We got a $31,000 difference in prices. Now going into overall cost of living in both areas. So I did a video before on the cost of living in Rapid City and explained kind of how they rank that kind of thing. And so what they do is they take 100 as the baseline, and if as the national average of every cost is 100, plus or minus whatever your area is. So for example, if the average housing market is 100 in the U.S., and Rapid City is a little bit above, it would be like a 110 on the scale, if that makes sense. So overall, Sioux Falls versus Rapid City. The overall index, which is a homeowner with no child care and taxes not considered, Rapid City is a 92 and Sioux Falls is a 88. So Rapid City on average is a little bit more expensive. I believe that comes mainly from the housing prices. Food and groceries, and I'll go online and tell you food and groceries, they're both 100.1, so exact national average basically. Housing is 81.4 in Sioux Falls, so what is that, 8.6% less than the national average. And then Rapid City is a 90. So I'm going to tell you right now that these numbers are not exactly accurate, but because we're actually a little bit above, and Sioux Falls is right about on par with the national average. So we're at a 90, but that's the big difference, and that's probably the only difference between the two. Yeah, it has a median housing cost in Sioux Falls of 188. Here it has 208, so that shows you the difference. They're definitely not correct there. Utilities. So utilities in Rapid City are 92.9. Utilities in Sioux Falls are 96.4. So the difference there. is about 3.6% less in Rapid City than in Sioux Falls on utilities. Transportation in Sioux Falls is 74.8. Here it's 74.4, so 0.4% less. Healthcare in Rapid City is 114.9, so 14.9% over. And healthcare in Sioux Falls is 91.6. So that would be a difference of 25.4% more here, right? Yeah, 25.4% more. I'm not even sure if that's the case or what that means, but I'm sure that could break down in more of a category. But it's showing that it's quite a bit more expensive here. And then miscellaneous, 101.9 and 100.2, so 0.7 less here. So the big difference is healthcare and housing. Now I'm going to talk to you about the overall experience I've had in both areas, what I like, what I don't like about the areas. So Sioux Falls for me has a lot of a big city vibe, a big city feel to the town. There's a lot more little restaurants, coffee shops, boutiques. Maybe not a lot more boutiques, but a lot more coffee shops, restaurants, more options with that type of thing. And I would say a little bit more of like indoor entertainment, meaning like go-kart type stuff. Their mall is really nice. They have I think they have 2 or 3 movie theaters there. That kind of thing is a little bit better in Sioux Falls. To me, it was anyways, for all that stuff. Now, depending on what's important to you, the overall landscape of being outdoors in Sioux Falls, not as great at all. There's not as much to do. There's a couple little, there's a bike trail. They got the river going through there, which is kind of cool, but nothing compared to the west side of the state. Now, the west side of the state, the Black Hills, Rapid City area where I live, is much more, there's a lot more to do outside. There's a lot more if you are, if you don't feel like being super active, like if you're not hiking all the time, biking, skiing in the winter, going on the lakes and stuff like that. If you're not big into that type of stuff, there's a lot to do if you just want to go sightsee. There's tons of sightseeing stuff. There's, touristy type stuff you can do as well. Even when you're local, you can go walk through caves. You can go to, just see beautiful views pretty much everywhere you go. Now, for me personally, I much, much, much prefer the Black Hills and the Rapid City area. Mainly to me is because the scenery. I love the outdoors. I love the scenery vibe. Also for me in the Rapid City Black Hills area, this may be a little subjective, it's very hard to calculate this, but for me, I like the type of people here a lot. I like the vibe of the town. I like the pace of the town, things like that. It's a little bit more, it's laid back for sure, but it's also, there's a lot of stuff up and coming, a lot of new things going on, a lot of new development, a lot of, awesome leaders in our community, awesome business people in our community that I love being a part of that. Sioux Falls on itself is also growing a lot. There's a lot of companies going into there. I'm not sure everything that's going on there during all this COVID stuff going on, but I know there's a lot of still growth happening there. Companies are coming here. Obviously there's no state income tax anywhere you live in South Dakota. So I think either one, South Dakota or Sioux Falls, or Sioux Falls or Rapid City have their good things about them, bad things about them. Both have about the same size of an airport. I actually, when I lived in Sioux Falls, flew out a couple times, and I remember it being about the same cost as Rapid City. So, and they're both regional, so the airports are about the same. And they've actually gotten way cheaper since I first moved here. I found a flight the other day, a round trip, for like $230 across the country, which is really cheap for here. So flights are definitely getting better. Now, the one last thing I want to touch on is the weather difference. I have a video on what the weather's like in Rapid City, but the difference between the two, I believe the snowfall is about the same. It's 36 inches here. I believe it's like 38 inches in Sioux Falls. But with that being said, one thing I know about living there is you get a lot more wind because you don't have all the hills and trees to block it. The snow stays way longer. It doesn't melt off as fast as here. We get a lot more sunshine here. And also, it seems to be a lot colder in Sioux Falls than it does on this side of the state. So with that being considered, there's weather there. There's also tornadoes that have happened in the Sioux Falls area that I'm not aware of anyway, that have happened in the Black Hills area. There was a really bad tornado a couple years back that hit like the middle of the city in Sioux Falls, and it was pretty horrible. So they have that kind of negative thing going for them. Here, our big negative, which I've mentioned before, is hail. We get hail a couple times a year. And it's not, somebody asked me recently like how big the hail is. It varies a lot, but I've never seen anything above like golf ball size is the biggest I've seen. And I was only once, and it was Still pretty bad though. Golf ball size hail is pretty bad. So, but that's our one negative here that we have is the hail. All right, guys. I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope it answered some of your questions. Maybe look, if you have any questions, if you're looking at moving to South Dakota at all. Again, if you're looking at moving to the east side of the South Dakota, or the Sioux Falls side, I keep saying South Dakota. If you're looking at moving to the Sioux Falls side of the state, the east side of the state, give me a shout. I'll get you connected with someone that's actually is really good and knows what they're doing and can take care of you really well. And then if you're moving, obviously, to this side of the state, the western Rapid City, give me a shout, give me a call, email, or text is the best way to get a hold of me. But if you're really feeling up to it, you can write me an old-fashioned letter, whatever you're feeling up to. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video. I will see you on the next one.